Today on the Diz List, we discuss what to do with all those billions of park dollars in Walt Disney World.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that ranks everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Rob, and welcome to episode 80, where we discuss what to do with all those billions of park dollars in Walt Disney World. Do you know why I said all those billions of park dollars?
No.
Because I forgot the number.
That's because we're octogenarians now. This is episode 80.
But I figure you'd had that memorized.
Yeah, it's 60.
See, I knew you would.
Yeah.
You're the numbers guy.
$60 billion in the next decade.
I just knew it was a lot of billion.
And I looked it up because I wanted to make sure that we're not saying something erroneous. This is money that they earmarked this. They made these statements in filings, in security filings.
So it's official.
I mean, it's official that if they don't do it, I believe they get into financial trouble. Correct.
Whoa.
Like it's when you say something in an earnings call or in an official filing like that, my understanding is that there are ramifications of not following through.
Like a $20 overdraft charge or something?
Yes, I believe it's 25 now, but yeah, there's inflation. So I don't know if you've been following the weather in Walt Disney World, but it looks a little different than the weather here.
Well, yeah, let's start with the weather here. Before the podcast, I was out with the snowblower, and Nick pulls up and sees my son is shoveling our stairs out front.
Yeah.
So we got some snow, not a ton. You got more than me.
Yeah, not too much. I'm only about 3 miles south, but it started a lot sooner down there. I think we got probably half a foot, I would say. You have what looks to be about 4 inches.
Yeah. I think our Orlando listeners are just laughing at us right now.
Yeah. Well,
what's their weather?
I
don't even know.
Yesterday, they had so much rain that they had to shorten the half marathon.
Really?
Yeah. They went so Run Disney does a 5K. So marathon weekend. This is marathon weekend.
There's 3 races?
4. They do a 5K, a 10K, then a half marathon, then a full marathon. And if you run all of them.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yes. If you run all of them, that's called the Dopey Challenge because only a dope would sign up for it.
Oh, my God.
There are people who do it.
Jeez.
People listen to this. Now, this is spoken like the non-runner I am. Like I want to get
me too.
I want to get one of those stickers. You know, they have like the 26.2 oval stickers.
Yeah.
I want one that says 0.0.
Well, the craziest ironic thing is both of my kids are great runners. They're really good runners. And I am not. Well, my wife is, but I am not.
But I mean, yeah, it's bizarre to me.
I know.
Anyway, my thing with this is like, so if you told me in the morning before I was dreading, because I would be dreading, having to run 13.1 miles.
Oh, my God.
If you said, hey, by the way, we're shortening this course, and you're not going to run through part of the course, I wouldn't immediately turn to social media and complain that I want all that I paid for. Give me my whole 10K.
Yeah.
Or my whole half marathon. I would have been like, hell yeah. You mean I don't have to run as far? I get it, because there's character meet and greets along the way. It's not really a race, but they still get their medal. They still get their T-shirt. They still get all of that.
Have you ever done a race before?
No.
I did a 5K once. One time I did a 5K.
I mean, I did indoor track, so I did the big man relay.
Oh, right. You told me about that.
I did indoor track. I threw the shot put, so like the throwers got together and we did a 4x, because it's indoor, so it's a 4x50. So that's a 200 meters, but it's 4 guys running 50 meters.
I think it was maybe 8 or 9 years ago I did one. It was part of the Strong Children's Walk that they do every year. We do that for my niece, and one of the things was a 5K. I don't know how I did it, but trained. I mean, I definitely walked 3 times. I had to stop and walk, but I did it and I finished it. Like, you must be shocked because you know I am not a runner. I mean, I'm not built like a runner at all.
I mean, a 5K, I feel like you could, if you trained moderately, you could do.
I did. But moderately is the best I could do.
I don't get, like, my cousin's a marathoner, and I'm like, what? Why?
I don't know.
What's the joy of it? Listeners, if you're a runner, if you're listening to this while running,
Oh yeah, I bet you there is.
like, let us know, because I find it hilarious that people enjoy that. like you find fun in other sports punishment.
my kids love it.
Like,
my kids love it.
when I was growing up, if
Yeah.
you screwed up at practice, end line, run,
Yeah.
down and back, let's go.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the Run Disney looks to be, I mean, if I could walk it, I mean, which I think you probably
And
could
people do.
Yeah, because they have they have people that are bringing up the backside of the race, and the whole thing is like you just have to stay in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you could probably do that at a brisk walking pace. Quite honestly, stay in front of those people.
I think there's two people we know
and you
that
could-
did it.
Really?
Yeah.
I know. This
Well,
year, you mean?
it's two parents of some students that you have and I have.
Oh, this year they
Yeah.
did? They went down this weekend?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I know, like my sister-in-law who's going to Disney with us this summer, she did it before.
Yeah, she's a monster athlete, though.
Yeah, I don't get it.
If
But-
she listens to the show, then there's
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, there's
her
her shout
compliment.
out.
There's her shout out.
yeah. She picks things up and puts them down.
I know. I still call her by her maiden name.
Yeah. So we wanted to do this because we kind of wanted to think about and talk about not a wish list. I mean, this isn't a wish list because we've done that episode before.
Yeah.
But now that we know that they're going to invest money, where do we think they should write the check?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Who should be on the pay to line? And, you know, I've got some ideas. I definitely have some that people are going to be like, I didn't think about that, but
Mm-hmm.
but I'm excited. What I will say is this. The rules that we're going to be discussing after this break, the rules that we followed were Disney World. I know they said $60 billion in their parks nationwide, both domestic and international.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also said Disney Cruise Line. So cruise ships can be expensive,
Okay.
but not $60 billion expensive. Like
And they just invested in a new one, right?
2 new ones. They're building one, and they just bought one. That
All right.
was like,
Oh my gosh. Have you seen the video of them building the ship in that
crazy.
enormous? Oh my gosh. It's like the largest single room in a building,
Yeah.
other than like a sports stadium.
yeah,
I think
it's
I've
crazy,
seen.
right? It's these where they build those cruise ships.
It's huge.
Yeah, I don't know. I would.
It could be bigger than I'm thinking. Like AT&T, where the Dallas Cowboys play. That's huge, right? That's a
Yeah.
really big dome.
Yeah,
Is this bigger? I wonder.
I mean, I think that the cruise ships are longer than a football field.
Yeah,
So
it might be bigger than.
that's crazy.
Wow.
And you figure how high they are. It is.
Yeah, if you get a
Beyond
chance,
belief.
look that up. It's wild to see.
So
It's huge.
So we're gonna head off to the halftime show here. This week, the halftime show is actually brought to you by all of our patrons who we love so dearly and thank them so much, but especially those patrons who like running. No, I'm kidding. So
Extra credit
Yeah.
goes to them.
if you can possibly reach out and let us know if you run, we'll feature you. And of course, magicmerch.art, which is our artistic outlet, if you will.
Yeah, we got a couple new ones this week.
Yeah.
I made a new one. Is your new one up yet?
It's
that you
not
made this week?
It's not. Well,
Okay, so-
by the time the show comes out, it should be.
Okay. So your new one is
It's a nod to pirates. It's,
Yep.
it says "Dead Men Tell No Tales." It's kind of like a tattoo art type look to it.
I love
so
it.
like flash tattoo kind of stuff. And then you have one. You're like
mine's my Mandalorian one.
Oh, the Mando one. That's
Oh,
right. Yeah.
My Mandalorian
Yeah.
one I just did.
And then I like the Haunted Mansion one we just put up too.
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
so-
the graffiti Haunted
That's
Mansion.
right. You love that one.
I love it.
So I did one that is it looks like rough in a well, that's a really good way to sell the design.
No, it looks-
kind of looks like graffiti, street art
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Like it's not vectory. That doesn't mean nothing to anybody else.
No, it's not smooth.
It's not smooth art.
Yeah.
It is supposed to look as though it was the street art.
So here's a tip when you look at the 999 on that. I don't think I've told you this before.
No.
Do you remember in middle school where you would on your notebooks you would do that S
Oh
where
my
you would
God.
do the 3 lines
I
and
saw
connect it?
so I went to a school that was an S school.
Yeah, I don't know if you
And
guys
so
know. Do the listeners know what this means?
everybody knows what that
Okay.
S is.
Okay.
Yeah. And they have to, right?
Well, that's what the 9s were based on. Like I didn't do it like the S,
That's
but
funny.
if you look at it, it's got that same diamond shape as the S for each of the 9s. That was the
We're dating ourselves, but
inspiration.
you know what? I saw a kid drawing one of those S's the other day.
Kids still do it.
Yeah, it's
They
crazy.
do.
It is what it is, man.
All right.
We do have some. I did actually want to say,
Sure.
Melissa B. Reached out on. She's one of our patrons. She reached out in the chat, and Jessica W. reached out wishing us Happy New Year, as did Emily P.
Cool.
And Russell B. It's great when you guys who are patrons reach out, and if you're not a patron, join on even as a free chat or as a free member. And the chat is supposed to be coming to free members as well. We're gonna keep pushing on Patreon to get that out of beta so we can have that, and everybody can be involved in that. But thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. And when you get a chance, go over to magicmerch.art to check out our wares.
We'll see you after the break.
Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how we want Disney to spend that $60 billion in Walt Disney World. And $60 billion with a B is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some ideas. I do. I think that my ideas help with some stuff that we're seeing and not liking.
I have a couple that are I would kind of consider boring but important, and then I have 2 that are kind of biggies for me. But you'll see. You want me to kick off?
Yeah, let's kick it off.
Okay. You know what I was about to do right there when I said kick off?
I don't know. Hopefully not run it back like the Patriots did last weekend.
I know. We were going to go into Bills talk, but we won't.
Yeah,
all I will say, there's a very important football game for us tonight. We're recording on Sunday, so go Bills. So by the time you hear this, we're either pretty happy or pretty sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, my number 5. So I've heard a lot about this in some different podcasts and YouTube videos that I've watched, and I'll get right to it. My number 5 is the monorail. So the problem is, if they go to fix the monorail, there's really no transportation back and forth. So it would be very expensive to redo and refurbish. So my idea is build a new monorail right next to it. So they do the concrete, they do the track. There's a new one right next to it. The old one still works, and they have to make it far enough away so the construction is not interfering with the monorail going back and forth, but they have it close enough and so that they would be able to continue with, I mean, Disney doesn't stop.
Right.
It's a juggernaut that just goes and goes. So I'm not even sure, like, if there's engineers or if this is, I don't know, civil engineering or what this is part of specifically, or maybe all different parts of engineering. But I'm thinking if we build, I'm part of the team, I guess now. It's like when I talk about sports, okay. I'm always saying, well, we, when it's my team. Build another one next to it, rebar, concrete, whatever goes into building those. And then, because, I mean, you've seen a lot of the concrete stands for the monorail. They're not, all of them are in the greatest of shape. So how do you feel about this? Do you think this could work?
I'm not sure why, I guess. What's the end goal?
I think, for me, the monorail is such an iconic part of Walt Disney World that I feel like it's deteriorating, and I wouldn't want it to go away. Like if
I don't think it's deteriorating, though.
What would happen if part of the track broke between Magic Kingdom and Epcot? What would happen?
That'd be bad, but they inspect it and they make repairs throughout the year.
Maybe there's even a type of...
They do refurbishments on
construction, so they wouldn't even need to do this?
I don't know that they would need to redo the whole thing. So when I heard you say monorail, I thought you were going to say expand it. But, I mean, I can...
Well, that could be part of it, too.
Yeah.
My point is this. If we don't need to do the track, and you're convincing me that maybe we don't, I still think a good amount of money needs to go into either refurbishing what we have, expanding the track, making the cars more efficient in whatever way. I don't know. I just love it, and I think it's such a crucial and important part of the Walt Disney World experience.
I do not disagree with you that it's an important part. I don't think it needs too big of an investment. That said, I don't know for sure. I do think that they inspect those things and they do make repairs on that. It's hard to say, right? Like whether or not they need to go through and redo the whole thing.
Well, maybe they don't need to redo the whole thing. Let's say there's a part that is falling apart. Let's say they build one that's 20 feet to the right, or maybe more, maybe 50 feet, whatever, next to it, and then they could connect the track at the beginning. So again, it wouldn't interrupt.
I think they need to expand it, especially in terms of capacity. Like if you saw any of the filming that was being done by YouTubers during the Christmas time,
Full.
If you were staying at Grand Floridian, forget it.
Well, there were fist fights with people. The doors closed. They weren't letting anybody on, and somebody actually hit/pushed a cast member. Did you see that news report?
It's
sad.
There's not enough room in those cars as they currently are constructed to hold all the people who want to get on the monorail.
Right.
Especially during peak. So my number 5 is hopefully a solution to that as well.
Good. Transition to it.
So my number 5 is to expand the Skyliner.
Oh, great. Wow. This that matched up pretty well. Again, we didn't have this planned.
So my number 5 is expand the Skyliner. I love the Skyliner.
Better than the monorail?
Man, that's
really
cool. It's up there, man. I like it.
I'm monorail, but I'm not anti Skyliner.
Here's why I like the Skyliner. Maybe more. I'm gonna say maybe
because it's not the bus.
Well, yeah, but maybe more than the monorail would be that it's first off, it's a smaller like vehicle,
right?
And it's an omni mover,
right?
And it's an omni loader, and so long as the weather is good, it's rather reliable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the weather gets bad, sure, it's not as reliable as the monorail, and so for that reason, I think the monorail probably does win out, especially for nostalgia. But the Skyliner is, it's just a really, really good mode of transportation, and it's one that I feel that can be expanded in ways that make sense, right? That connect things that aren't currently connected.
So is your first connection, because I was thinking about this too, is your first connection to Disney Springs or is your first connection all the way down to Animal Kingdom? Think about it.
I mean, it's not all the way. It's not as far as one would think. What would be a long way away would be going to Magic Kingdom. Everybody talks about how Animal Kingdom,
because that is far.
Everybody talks about how Animal Kingdom is so far away from everything else.
It's very close to Coronado Springs, actually.
Right. So, like, Animal Kingdom is not as far away as people like to, like, paint it to be.
True.
Oh, going to Animal Kingdom today is going to take forever to get there. Maybe the way the roads are constructed, but the reality is that the 3 that are closest together are Animal Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
And then Magic Kingdom is north.
Way far north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Significantly.
Animal Kingdom to Magic Kingdom is the longest ride you can have.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Because that's north to south.
I would love to see them connect Animal Kingdom with some sort of other mode of transportation. That'd be great.
That would be my first. Then it would be Disney Springs. So if I were staying on a Skyliner resort, I could go over to Disney Springs to get a bite to eat at a fancy restaurant, shop.
I don't think that it's realistic to have a Skyliner run from where it currently is constructed to Magic Kingdom. I don't think that's feasible.
No.
I don't think that's realistic.
Especially that wouldn't be on my list.
Especially with the weather and stuff. But to expand it or to have an own Skyliner loop up there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't know why you would need that really, but like when I say why you would need that really, I mean because the monorail already serves that purpose, but it'd be a different mode of transportation. They could easily do it and then have it actually expanded so that there's a station over at Wilderness Lodge or Fort Wilderness.
Yeah.
And they could expand it so that.
But that's far because that's close to Magic Kingdom.
No. I'm saying they could expand it. They could have their own. I'm saying if they did a Skyliner in the Magic Kingdom area, it wouldn't make much sense because there already exists something. However,
that would be a place that there isn't
currently transportation.
To.
Right. There's only a boat.
And it's
or
funny
a bus.
Because if you're listening and you're not familiar with the map, and I'm a weirdo and I memorize all the maps, the Wilderness Lodge is actually very, very close to the Contemporary. There isn't really I mean, I guess you can kind of walk along the roads to get there, but it's so close, but there isn't a way along the monorail to get to Wilderness Lodge. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, let's say you put in a Skyliner somewhere between maybe over kind of on the way to the Contemporary over by Space Mountain. And then that goes kind of, I couldn't, because I'm not looking at the map right now, but it could kind of connect that area. And then Wilderness Lodge is not super far from Port Orleans. Port Orleans is not super far from Old Key West. Like, that would actually not be a bad line.
Or Disney Springs.
And that's where we're going, right? So that could be a line without like having an offshoot or a tee off of it, or whatever term you would want to use. Yeah. That could be a line.
Look, I think the Skyliner, I was skeptical. I don't like heights. I don't like those kinds of, like, I don't like rides like that.
I was afraid of the heat.
Yeah, and it's not bad.
No, you're right.
It's not bad. No. Like, I was worried that, like, wait, there's no fans in this thing? Yeah. This is not going to end well in the summer. And I've been in there on a 100-degree day.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not bad.
Yep.
Because they move at a decent clip. And I will tell you right now, I have been in Skyliner a decent number of times, and I have only twice ridden in a car with another family or another group.
We did once, and they were Chiefs fans, because when I go, I always wear my Bills hat. Yeah. You know, you've gone with me. And we get in the car, and they go, Bills fans, huh? I go, heck yeah, I am. She goes, well, we're Chiefs fans, but they turned out to be really nice people. We ended up talking football the entire ride. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, it
was fun.
I've never had a negative interaction with the people that I rode with. We rode with an older couple, and then two gentlemen who I ended up seeing like the whole trip, like every single time I went anywhere, they were there. But they basically were always wearing Hawaiian shirts, and they were staying at the Poly.
Well, you do a lot too, though.
Yeah, they were. That's their home resort, is the Poly. They're DVC, and it was. I don't know. I like the Skyliner. I think it needs to be expanded, and so that's why it's my number 5.
I want to finish with one plus and minus with the Skyliner. I want to finish out with this.
Go ahead.
So one other plus that I like that we haven't mentioned. I love seeing what's on the outside of each one. I like, oh, we're going to get the Haunted Mansion one. We're going to get it. Oh, well, no, I don't want Lady and the Tramp. No. Oh, we have Lady and the Tramp. You know what I mean? It's kind of fun to see what themed car you have.
And you don't even know, because like sometimes they'll just let them go by empty and they don't.
And you're like, oh, we're going to get that Haunted Mansion one, and then you don't. The only negative that is a little scary for people that may have issues with heights, and I'm not awful with heights. I'm not great with them either, but there's one spot that's right over by where you come from. You know what I'm going to say here?
I think so.
If you're coming from Caribbean Beach and you're doing that line and you're coming into Epcot right there is like a drop almost. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's where they transition into the station.
It's a little bit of, it's like one of those drops. If you're in Florida, you don't have these bumps, but we have all these like drumlins around here. And when you go over a little hill, you know, your stomach kind of feels a little like, butterfly.
Yeah.
A little bit of that, and everyone kind of goes, "Whoa, boy, whoa!"
It can be intense. But
for some people, that's a plus. I'm saying it's a minus, but all right, we can transition. Anything you want to say before I go to my 4?
No, you're number 4. What is it?
All right, my 4 is I hope they really follow through with this, and this is something they've already announced, and it's the Animal Kingdom expansion. Now, I really, really, really think that they need to do something with this area. And I know that it's already been announced, and I realize that some of these are going to be like, okay, they've already announced this. But this is really what they have to put the money into, because so many times they'll blue sky these ideas and say, we're thinking about maybe doing this. They have to do this.
Are you talking expansion, or are you talking about redoing Dino Land?
Well, I'm talking about redoing Dino Land and expanding beyond that whole area.
Okay.
Like, A, do the Indiana Jones. B, do the Encanto area. But then keep going a little bit beyond that too.
So we're in disagreement about the Indiana Jones thing. We've had that discussion.
Yeah.
But this is my number 4 too. So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wrote Dino Land, but yeah.
The only other asterisk I had with this one is obviously I'm pushing that front area kind of in the bottom right hand corner there.
Yeah.
But also, initially, there was supposed to be another ride. You have the same thing?
No.
Oh, okay. There's supposed to be another Pandora ride. There's supposed to be 3. and the other one I believe is a roller coaster.
Yeah, I mean, where would you put it?
Well, it was supposed to go when you walk in to Pandora, where they have the giant like pod that the smoke comes out of.
Yeah.
It was going to be off to the left there. That's where the roller coaster was going to be.
I mean, I'm all for more rides in Animal Kingdom.
And I think they have an expansion area there. So take that money. I mean, Pandora's already so popular. Expand it more. Add that ride. It's probably already done, and they probably already have plans for it. And then really, really push that area. Indiana Jones, and I've always said make that Indiana Jones snakes and reptiles. Like push that.
Yeah.
Like Indiana Jones has that fear of snakes. Push that ride as like snakes and do more things in that area that have to do with, I know it has to do with like specifically what country and what area, but push that. Maybe have, I don't know if you know what Gatorland is. Maybe make a classic Gatorland.
God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like do something like that because people love that kind of stuff. I do. I love snakes. I love alligators, lizards. I love that stuff.
Good for you.
You're not in the same mindset, huh?
I mean, if you want to if you
Tarantulas.
want to control capacity, that's one way to do it, because it will not be high capacity.
Well, that's where I would go. I love that kind of stuff.
I think they need to do something with Dinoland USA, and it needs to not be Dinoland USA. I've hated that part of the park since the first time I went in it. I think it's stupid. I know a lot of people love like the boneyard for their kids, and they, it's such a release for my kids. Like, okay, let's do something different there.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not, there's not a real reason for me to go in that part of the park, and even to ride dinosaur, because I don't like dinosaur. And then
I do as a joke.
Like
My daughter and I make fun
like
of it.
Chester and Hester's, and like then you've got like the little carnival game stuff.
I've never done it.
It's just, I know there are people who love that part of the park. I am not one of them. It needs to be redone. They need to put a lot of money into it. And if you're gonna go IP, do it right. If you're not gonna do it IP, do that right too. I don't care which way you go, but I think when you look at investments in parks, okay, we had the massive investment over like a probably about a decade into Hollywood Studios,
Yeah.
right? Toy Story Land, Galaxy's Edge, refurbing some of these rides.
Mm-hmm.
They dumped a bunch of money into Epcot. Was it enough money? I don't know. But they dumped a bunch of money into Epcot.
Yep.
There's two parks that haven't really been touched, and they need to.
They do.
And Dinoland needs to be helped, and it needs to be changed. And I don't know, maybe they could do because originally, remember that there was going to be I almost said Fantastic Beasts, because that's Harry Potter. But remember, they were going to have the imaginary animals, and the original logo has a dragon on it.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So like people who complain,
dragons, unicorns.
yeah, like they could do anything.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be IP heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Make a new in-park IP, like a Figment.
Or a dark ride that features, different fantasy animals,
Yeah,
and they make animatronics of them.
I really don't care. What I do care about is it needs to get fixed. And it's because right now we talk about capacity on this show a lot, and Animal Kingdom is not fun for some people. For me, I love it, right? I love walking the trails, but if it's packed, it's not. I was talking to a friend who was there for a couple days, did Epcot, and of course Epcot's really good with capacity. Animal Kingdom,
because it's enormous.
right? And this was during the week of Christmas, the week leading up to Christmas, and that Monday was in Animal Kingdom, and said it was so packed and you couldn't move, and the lines were forever. Didn't even get to go on Flight of Passage because it was a 3-hour wait.
Yeah. I've waited that long.
Yeah, I mean,
But that was the first time I ever went on.
right. And if you take Flight of Passage out and you take Navi River Journey out, like,
There's not much.
no, you've got Everest, which probably was an hour and a half wait, which is ridiculous for Everest. You got Dinosaur, which is not worth a wait, in my opinion, over 40 minutes.
No.
You got Triceratops Spin, which, adults aren't going on Triceratops Spin.
No.
What do you have in that park other than the trails? And I get that that's what you do. You have the safari. He said he waited about an hour and 10 minutes for the safari, which I think is reasonable.
They have so much land. Have they ever considered doing a second safari?
I don't know how you would do that.
I mean, well, that's true. Because safari, you automatically think it's, animals or African animals. I mean, what if they had some type of drive-through attraction that had other animals that aren't in that one? Don't call it a safari. I mean, this is wide open. Like, what animals are there that aren't featured there? I don't know.
I mean, that live in Florida?
No, anywhere.
No, but that could survive in Florida?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Because, would you really want to pay to... Look, either way, they need to invest in Animal Kingdom. This is a whole other show. This is a Patreon episode.
Okay. Let me ask you this before we move on here. So the area past Dino Land.
Yeah.
You've done the backstage rhino. Is it... So if you've kind of been in the backstage area before, is there room over there to build and push out that direction east?
I don't see how they would. What I saw was, first of all, back along the edge of the safari.
Okay.
So
that would be
they take you backstage. Yes, they take you backstage.
That's by Everest then.
Well, no, they take you backstage.
Uh-huh.
Right by
where do you enter backstage?
You enter backstage by the Kilimanjaro Safaris.
Okay.
So you go backstage right there. There's two big gates right there. You go backstage. Once you're backstage, it is very clearly...
Okay, that's not by Everest.
No, it's not. And you're going along the outside of the safari. All of the housing for the animals is along the outside of the safari. The safari is kind of built like Disneyland with a berm.
Okay.
And the housing is beyond the berm. And then they have an entrance from their housing into the safari. They don't force the animals to go on stage. They don't force the animals to come off stage. They do, however, feed them off stage, so they come off stage.
Right.
Because
they know that's
it's an incentive, food incentive. And then that's on the right side of the road as you're driving backstage, and on the left side of the road is they're literally growing the food that they're feeding these animals. Mm-hmm. There's water treatment type stuff back there. I don't know that they could expand anything over on that side anyway. But
all right, we can move on then.
Yeah,
I know. But I mean, we both had the same one.
Yeah,
so
I think expanding is fine if they want to expand, but they need to fix it at the very least. All right, so what's your number 3?
Okay, number 3. This has been on my mind currently because I was watching a YouTube Disney news outlet that I'm not going to name the name of. And they were mentioning how in the Imagination Pavilion upstairs there is a lounge for DVC owners that is going to be closing soon. So this person's conspiracy theory is, maybe they're closing soon because there's going to be something happening at the Imagination Pavilion. And I know we have at least one listener that loves to send me messages that says how much that he hates Figment. Nick's laughing because you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So
love you, Eric.
Yeah. Well, Eric and our listeners, how would you feel if they revamped it and made it something incredible? I want money pumped into the Imagination Pavilion. I want to keep
that whole pavilion needs help.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I don't even think they really need that theater off to the side. Take that whole area. There's a little space behind it. Push out and make a nice, big, interactive dark ride. Make it something. And they don't even have to put a ton of money into it if they make it that's something that's similar to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Because if you do projections, you can do magic and transformations and almost 3D animation.
Yeah.
So they haven't really done a lot of that because if you think of Mickey and Minnie's, it's all 2D, right, on the walls. What if they do a 3-dimensional style animation like a Toy Story or Finding Nemo or Monsters, Inc. and animate Figment in a 3-dimensional way flying around and all the walls are crazy colors and really focus back in on imagination not the senses, not the skunk. Make it incredible visually.
You want to go down a rabbit hole?
Sure.
You ready?
Yeah.
VR.
Oh, they could because they're doing that with Super Mario.
They've patented some stuff that has to do with ride vehicles that move and point you in certain directions.
Cool. I'm all for it.
What if instead of 3D glasses, you wear a freaking VR headset?
Cool.
I don't know how they do it. I don't really care.
How do they
Disney
do it
figure
with Super Mario?
I don't know.
I think it's the Mario Kart ride.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I would be lying if I even tried to guess. But could you imagine if every person, because VR headsets will track your eyes, What if every person had a different experience?
And here's how. I was just thinking that. So make it like Test Track, where you get in and design your car. Maybe as you're getting in, you design what color's Figment is.
I don't like that.
Well, and maybe there's more than that too. You get to, but here's the thing. You
I meant more along like where your eyes are pointing is what
I'm saying. Like you
Figment
get to
gets in.
select what your experience is, meaning like maybe there's a portion of the ride where you select, I want it to be at nighttime. I want Figment to be blue. I want, you know what I mean? And there you're using your imagination to make this imagination ride. That's my point.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, the Imagination Pavilion needs help. Period. End of story.
Pour money there. I
Yeah,
mean, this news guy who I'm not naming says that his idea
We'll
is
just call him Tom.
Sure, let's just make up a random name.
Yeah, random name, Tom.
Sure. Yep, Tom. Maybe Tom has some inside info. I don't know.
I caught you off guard there, huh?
Well, that was a good random name that you just, sort of picked out of nowhere.
So I don't put a ton of stock into what people named Tom say.
Right.
But I mean, if you're gonna pour money into anything in Epcot, and you've already poured money pretty much everywhere else, with the exception of there's the one pavilion that hasn't really been touched, but the Imagination Pavilion needs it. And
they were talking about doing Spaceship Earth. Spaceship Earth is awesome still.
Right.
I know it's a little dated, but it's still awesome.
Here's the thing. What takes up more capacity during the day?
I don't know. They're both Omni movers.
Right. But let's think about it. Have you ever, in the last 5 years, waited to ride Journey into Imagination?
Yeah, that's true. And the line for...
I've definitely waited for Spaceship Earth.
Big time.
Yeah.
I've baked in the sun waiting for that
Yeah.
ride.
I have definitely waited for Spaceship Earth, but I would not wait for Journey into Imagination. How few people are in there? There's not a ton of people in there. You're not giving up that much capacity if you went in there and fixed it.
I think when we went, we only waited like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Like that's you wouldn't be giving up a ton of capacity. And Epcot's great at absorbing capacity.
Well, this would make it even better.
So I'm gonna go ahead.
Yeah, my number 3. No, my number 3 was Imagination Pavilion. Okay, this is let's make the Imagination Pavilion great again.
Oh my. Okay, I'm just gonna move away from that. I'm not gonna touch that. I'm going to say this.
The hat would be purple.
Mine. The hat would be purple. There we have our new design for magicmerch.art.
No. That's a joke.
Number 3 for me is very similar because I could not bring myself to just pick one. So my number 3 is update the aging classics.
Okay.
So that includes Imagination. Let's not go through. We're not gonna talk about that again.
Sure.
I don't think that they need to do a full-blown refurb of Spaceship Earth, but the ride vehicle could maybe use an update.
That needs it the most. Those screens.
Yeah. And
those screens are definitely like 90s.
I wouldn't mind them putting a new scene in to kind of update like where we are at with the world of communication. But like I'm thinking you go over to Magic Kingdom. Think of the classics over there. Carousel of Progress needs an update.
Well, they did a little bit, but I'm not counting it as an update.
They put hoodies on them.
Yeah.
New hoodies on them. Like, that doesn't count. Let's make it so his hand doesn't fall off once a week. Okay? The last time I was there, I was at Hall of Presidents. There was a tear in the screen in the upper left-hand corner.
I think it's still there.
Yeah. So, update these aging classics. There's a lot of them that could be updated.
Well, they just started with Country Bears.
Right.
So they're at least making effort to.
True, but like Space Mountain
Yeah.
is, and I like Space Mountain, but it is not Disneyland Space Mountain.
Nope.
And it's not the Space Mountain that they're getting over in is it Shanghai or Tokyo? I can't remember which one.
Yeah,
but
closing it.
I don't know if it's Tokyo Disney Sea or Shanghai, whichever one that they're redoing. They're turning it into some really ridiculous, awesome looking thing.
Cool.
Space Mountain needs update.
It's fun as is, but listeners, if you've been to Disneyland, you know what I'm talking about. It is
Tomorrowland
night
Speedway.
and day. Oh my Lord.
So
it is so much better at Disneyland.
Yeah.
It's like close.
We have so many aging classics that need to be updated.
Yeah. Yep.
Like some of them updated means get rid of them. Tomorrowland Speedway. Some of them Space Mountain is just let's get in there and fix stuff. Let's make that ride a little smoother.
Yep.
So I don't have to definitely schedule my chiropractor appointment for the day after.
Right. You don't want to have a Becky out of me.
Yeah. Then you've got, you go over to, honestly, at this point, Rock and Roller Coaster. They keep shutting it down, trying to fix stuff, shutting it down, trying to fix stuff. Let's just really fix stuff. Let's get rid of Aerosmith. Let's fix it totally.
See, Nick said it this time.
Yeah. So there are so many.
Put anything in there.
Look,
anything.
There's so many aging classics. Just go in and give them a little zhuzh. Je ne sais quoi.
I even feel like at this point they could probably get like Metallica. Like I bet you anything.
You're so hung up on.
No, but I bet you they would. Like at this point, Metallica in their career, they would be like, "Yep," and I bet you Disney would be like, "Yeah, Metallica."
Look, I don't care what it is. I just mean all of these aging like it's not just Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah,
there's so many things that you're like, man, it's kind of tired. Like even quite honestly, like even Small World a little bit is getting tired.
Yeah.
And I will say they went through and they clearly painted it and cleaned it up because this last summer I was there. I was like, wow, these colors are popping.
Tiki Room needs to be dusted.
It smells dusty in there.
It is. But I love it, and I don't want these things to change. Like,
no, I don't want pirates to go away. I don't want any. But like ads, look, technology has changed so much, and this is the whole point with Country Bears, right? They're going in there. They're changing from the pneumatic ones.
Yep.
To the servo-based animatronics,
which should be less maintenance.
They're less maintenance. They're not as noisy. There's a whole bunch of reasons why to switch to them.
It's so funny. You can hear the wall clicking when you go in there. When you hear Max and Buff,
you hear it clicking before he even starts talking.
That piano comes in. You hear that piano part, and you hear click, 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 click.
Yeah. So there's a lot of classics that just need to be refreshed with new technology. And you can't tell me you couldn't do it without disrupt. Because I'm not talking about complete refurbs. I'm not talking about. We did a whole episode on TLC. Take everything we said on that show, and then add in about 10 more rides, and that's what they just. And it's not expensive. It's literally. You're gonna have to suck it up and have a ride that you normally have maybe a day or two a year downtime, and you're gonna have to have it be a week or two, but it's worth it to me. So that's my number 3 is. Update the aging classics. What do you got for number 2?
My number 2 is it's going to be relatively short because it's already something everybody knows, and it's.
I guarantee you. Go ahead.
Well, I know. I say that every time. It's kind of a joke.
No, I meant
it's going to be short.
No, go ahead.
When I say it's going to be short, it's never short.
No, I think that we're both going to match up. Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say make sure. I want to make sure that money is invested in Magic Kingdom, and I need to make sure that when they're talking about Beyond Thunder Mountain, is that you too?
Beyond Big Thunder.
Yeah. So I put that / villains because where do I want them to sink the money into? Which this is also going to lead into number 1 for me also. So I'm not going to get into, I'll get to kind of my big reason why this is super important, but I really think it needs it. And originally they talked about having it being Coco or Encanto back there. But then they decided to kind of switch that, and Encanto went from being this Magic Kingdom attraction over to being part of Animal Kingdom. So it's kind of wide open right now. I still think, I've mentioned this on the podcast, if you're a listener, you're probably saying he's about to say Cars Land. I'm going to say it, Cars Land. Cars Land would fit perfectly because the way that they do Radiator Springs and the way that they do the rock formations would fit perfectly with sightlines when it comes to Thunder Mountain. It would lend itself perfectly to adding Cars Land back there.
I'm not going to say anything until I disagree with you.
Okay.
So keep going.
Then Cars Land in California Adventure consists of 4 rides. Oh my gosh, I can't even think of it now. So there's Radiator Springs Racers.
Yep.
There's Luigi's. There's the Mater.
Yep.
It might just be 3.
I think it's 3.
Easily throw those 3 in there because a lot of times, especially in Magic Kingdom, you're bringing younger kids, and those 2 rides are perfect for younger kids. Luigi's, as an adult, was so much fun. So much fun. We're singing along the songs. Like Mater Mater's one of my favorite Disney characters. We didn't even get to do that ride.
If you try to make the argument, because I can hear people right now on the other, they're listening to this show and they're like, you can't do Maters. We already have alien swirling saucers.
And we already have Test Track. Who cares?
Yeah, guess what?
Whoa, we have 2 of the same ride in Magic Kingdom already.
Yeah, we have 3 freaking spinners in the same park.
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
3, right.
There are 2.
I'm thinking of World's Worst Ride.
Two
Astro Orbiter.
Oh, well, 4 of them. We have because we have 2 Dumbos. We have Astro Orbiter, and we have
I wasn't
Magic
counting
Carpet.
2 Dumbos, right?
Like,
Yeah.
like so.
Who
Don't.
cares?
I don't care. Like, give me because I love alien swirling saucers. It's the dumbest ride that I love.
Yeah.
It's like one of my guilty pleasures. Like,
Great.
oh, I'm gonna go ride. You know, whenever I go and like my son wants to go do something that my daughter doesn't, and my wife's like, well, I'll go on alien swirling saucers with our daughter, and I'm like, I no, I want to ride it.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun. You never.
It is.
What song are we gonna get? How many times am I gonna get whipped around? It's. I love that ride, and I think that putting the Mater one in Magic Kingdom would be great because, let's be honest, if you go there with a young child, so I'm thinking 2, 3, 4 years old.
Yep.
Like, you've got Dumbo, you've got the carousel, you have the teacups as long as you don't spin them.
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh, Small World, Peter Pan.
Ariel.
Yep. But where are all those located? In one spot.
Right. Unless you go to Adventureland and then you have Aladdin's Magic Carpets.
Yeah, I guess. But like, if you spread it out, if you spread that, what are you helping? You're helping capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a serious issue with capacity at Magic Kingdom, which is why I said Beyond Big Thunder was my number 2. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
Look, if you were there this past, now I wasn't there this past week and I felt the pain for you. If you were there this past week,
or
and
if
the
you
week-
were
or the week
working
before,
there,
yeah,
we have listeners who work there.
yeah, like it was insane.
Yeah.
We have a listener who's on her way this week down. I wonder how it'll be this week, but like we have actually 2 listeners who are on our way down. That's kind of cool. I wonder if I should have them meet up. But we have, friends who are down there working, friends who went down there during the Christmas holiday, and they're like, it was bonkers.
Yeah.
Like, add capacity. And I don't mean capacity like, hey, let's make it so that we can put more people in here. I mean, spread people out.
Yeah.
Like, I never, even on the most crowded day, and I had this conversation with a friend this past week, I never walk into Epcot and feel crowded. I honestly don't.
Yeah, the lines are long, but there's so much expanse.
Even in the middle of a packed festival, it's like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I can get around. Like, Magic Kingdom, walking through that choke point in Fantasyland.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. It gives me nightmares just thinking about it. Like, being there during COVID and like, holy cow, there's like 300 people in this 10 by 10 area.
Yep.
Give us some capacity. Beyond Big Thunder needs to be done. And I think since we lined up on that, and neither one of us have mentioned what I think we're going to mention for number 1. You want to do number 1 now?
Yeah. And I have an idea of where to start.
Well, we don't even know. I mean,
so
do we
number
match up on
one,
number 1?
Well, I'm going to guess. Is it a 5th gate?
It's a 5th gate.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Because you and I talk about this all the time.
Yeah, it needs to happen. And this is not shocking to anybody.
And
we put this on our list.
The reason why, and then I'll get to where I want to start with this new park. The reason why is what you just said, and that's capacity. Because these parks, lines are long. It's hard to even walk around. Sometimes you're shoulder to shoulder with people. I don't love crowds. My family doesn't love crowds, but we deal with them because we love Disney so much. So many people want to go there. Invest the money now and think about the return of that investment. They're going to fill it. Every park will be full. This park will be full because the people that have been, when did Animal Kingdom opened in 90 or 2001? I can't even think of when did they open. I guess it doesn't matter. Regardless, it was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And some people have the mindset of, yeah, I've done those parks. We're not going to go back to Disney right away. If Disney says, hey, we're going to open a 5th one, maybe you'd want to go. Maybe Disney's going to make some more money. Here's my idea where to start.
1998.
98. Okay.
25. I knew I just turned 25. I wasn't sure when. April 22nd.
Here's my place to start. If they really want to start somewhere with something that's an easy way, start with bringing Pixar Pier to Florida. because that whole area in Disney California Adventure is amazing. It's amazing. Like, it's so much fun. I mean, it really does have that feel of like the boardwalk in New Jersey, or like it has that feel to it. And I know you don't love the Ferris wheel, but
no, I don't.
but like think about it though visually, having it there, it's beautiful looking. Incredicoaster, so much fun.
DCA looks amazing.
It is. I loved it so much.
And they could build a Disney's Florida Adventure for certain. They could do that.
And they could make it more beachy instead of boardwalky. I want them to bring in Incredicoaster. Like, that ride is so good. Just the feel of having like the lake in the middle. I mean, it doesn't even have to be Florida. It could be. They could just come up with another random name. Like we did an episode once where we were kind of coming up with what we would do if there was a fifth gate. I forgot what I called it, like Dreamland or Imaginationville or something. And then one of them was villains. So they're already going to bake villains into Magic Kingdom. I think,
we don't know that. But
like Epcot,
we don't know.
Experimental prototype community of tomorrow. That's it, right?
Yeah.
It encompasses a lot of things. If you create a name for a fifth gate that is something that is just kind of overarching, that can fit really anything or
just
any
make it
part
epic,
of the
man.
IPs.
Make it epic.
But that works though.
Yes.
Epic Universe works as a great name.
It is.
Because you can throw anything in there. Come up with a name, I don't know. I'm not going to come up with it off the top of my head.
It doesn't matter. Like, come up with something that's overarching that doesn't. Here's the thing, right? Disney loyalists, Disney traditionalists, don't put something like that in Animal Kingdom. It wasn't built that way. Don't put something in Epcot that wasn't. Oh, there's too much drinking in Epcot. Epcot was Walt's dream park, and he didn't want any alcohol near any of it. Shut up. Shut up. Just like
it's true.
Listen. If you don't want to drink at Epcot, don't drink at Epcot. But don't judge others, right? There's that group of people. There's the people who will yell when they decide that we're going to redo and put Zootopia in there into Animal Kingdom. There's the people who are going to get mad when they do Beyond Big Thunder Mountain. There's the people who are mad that like Tiana doesn't belong where she's going.
People are going to get mad no matter what.
Make a fifth gate that has a name that is like Randoville. I don't even care.
Yeah.
Like, just, it's completely, this is the island of the misfit toys, whatever, right? And this is where we put stuff that you won't let us put anywhere else because you'll throw a fit. And that's what you're going to get. I don't care. They need something. And if you are only going to Disney because you really like the theming, I got news for you. There's a park up the road that does it better. So, like, if you're really, really that much into Disney because of, you love the Disney parks because they theme better than anybody,
go to Harry Potter. Go to Jurassic Park.
Yeah, because like I'm a huge Disney fan, obviously.
Yeah.
But they are not. Their lands are not as well themed. Even their best themed land, Galaxy's Edge, is not as well themed as Harry Potter stuff.
I would say Toy Story is our best themed land.
You think so?
Yeah.
I disagree, but that's
they're neighbors.
Yeah. Either way, like their best themed land is not even close to as good as Hogsmeade or
Agree. And I'm not a Harry Potter guy, but that was the best. The Harry Potter world was incredible.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in the movie.
Between Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade, I don't think you're getting, and Jurassic Park's not all that far off. Like the theming they do there is better. So don't complain about it. And so if you are going to complain about it, we're going to make a park. And this park's going to just be what we want, what we Imagineers wanted to do in other places, but you yelled at us for. And then all of us who wanted those things, but you guys complained.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm on a little bit of I just get angry when I'm like, we could have had this if people just didn't complain all the time about it.
I know.
So I would love it. I absolutely would love a fifth gate that was just random stuff.
Yep.
Just experiment. Have fun.
And at one point, they talked about coming up with permits for a potential option for making a fifth park. And I believe that was going to be closer to the Magic Kingdom, but it was to the northwest, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, listeners. But I believe that's kind of the the area that they
I've
were
said it
talking about.
before. I'll say it again. You have parks that have the infrastructure that don't make you that much money because they're closed for part of the year every year. Your water parks, turn one of them into like a true theme park, and I guarantee you'll make more money. I guarantee it.
And that was a good point too. I remember you said that one other episode where you take, let's say Blizzard Beach, for example, right? If you take all the bathroom facilities and all the water and the food and the kitchens that are already there that you already have permits for and they're working, you just build around it. Or maybe it's a hybrid park.
I believe it's 5% less land than DCA, Blizzard Beach.
So imagine if you
you could build a DCA inside there.
But what if you do so? Where we live in Western New York, there's this place called Darien Lake. It's like this. I don't know if it's Six Flags still. It used to be.
Yeah.
But part of it's a water park. Part of it's a regular like. What if you just did both? Like, what if you don't get rid of that? What if there's more regular rides that maybe they put now? Hear me out here. What if they put the Arendelle Castle because it's frozen and it's Blizzard? You could add that whole area, maybe make it part of Frozen, and put the castle
Look,
there.
I'm here for all of it. I don't care what they do. I care that we end up with some $60 billion. What I think they said that they believe Epic Universe, when all is said and done, will be under $5 billion.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of money.
Under-
I
that'll
think
be
we're
under-
just throwing quarters right now.
Under $5 billion
Yeah.
was what Epic Universe was. So like when you have $60 billion to spend, even just give Disney World like $10 billion of it.
Right.
Do a brand new fifth gate, and then take the other $5 billion and fix all the other stuff we talked about.
I wonder how much Guardians cost with
Not
revamping
billion.
Ellen, because they had to take Ellen's Energy Adventure out, so they had to kind of gut that plus build all that. I wonder what that total cost was.
You know what would be awesome if they'd used that $60 billion for? To pay off Universal and say, no, we want all of our rights to Marvel.
Give us back Marvel.
Like, give them...
There's your fifth gate.
Yeah, boom.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Done.
Exactly.
You have a whole Marvel park.
You have like an Asgard land. You have holy cow.
Focus on a lot of the female characters. You don't want to make it too like, when you might make it for everybody. There's so many great female characters too.
No, but I'm
in
just
the
saying
Marvel
like
universe.
you could have a Wakanda land. You could have jeez.
Be great.
It's ridiculous.
There you go.
Anyway, we wish we had pockets so deep that we had $60 billion. We do not. But we thank you for listening, and it's you got anything to add or?
No, I'm all fired up now because I want to go to these parks and see these changes made.
Well, thanks for listening. Make sure you check us out at DizListPod on Instagram and Twitter. Email us at email us at DizListPodcast@gmail.com, or reach out on Instagram or Twitter. We'll try to get right back to you. Follow us on Patreon, www.patreon.com/DizListPod, and check out our Disney-themed apparel at magicmerch.art. But it's been a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow's just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.